Okay, so welcome everyone to Fireside Chats, where the mystical meets the practical. And tonight we're talking about igniting your magic. So, this is a topic near and dear to us. Anything with magic, we love to talk about and love to live and love to play with and invite everyone into. And it can be a misunderstood topic. And there's all different types of magic. Some people, it conjures up black magic, white magic, past lives with magic. It can be spooky this time of year, Halloween. It can be scary, but it can be exciting. And so there's all these like meanings and definitions of it. And what is magic to you? That's what we're going to invite you in. What is magic to you, and what is it to ignite your magic? So we're talking about your magic, your unique energy signature, what makes you you. That's how we're referring to magic this evening.
Mm-hmm. And just to give a little tiny overview of the different kinds of magic, Juna touched on it already, but people ask, okay, there's magic spelled with CK, and then there's magic spelled with C, and there's magic spelled in very, very interesting ways.
MAJIK.
All sorts of ways. So traditionally, magic with CK relates to the ritualistic magic, where you learn to invoke the directions and make potions and all that stuff. It's an old tradition. And magic with a C relates to card tricks. But in the last many years, magic with a C also was related to people who were stepping out of the norm and really using their capacities in different ways, which magic with CK kind of goes towards too, but just through the ritualistic way. And we go towards the magical, living a magical life by inviting you to really be who you truly are. Because when that happens, everything around you goes into resonance and your life unfolds as if by magic. It is like your desires are basically fulfilled before you even have them. And it's not just about desires being fulfilled. That's just one way to look at it. But it's just being constantly in that magical realm where you are turned on, happy, and a humongous contribution to the world around you, and receiving that contribution as well with total ease.
Mm-hmm. And it's not to be confused with magical thinking. And I was in the social work profession, and magical thinking was a bad thing, right? So any like psychology and all of that, they kind of stay away from magical thinking. And that's where you say, every time I sleep on my right side, I wake up and it rains. Right. So, and it's kind of making a weird causal thing, but you do it so many times and then you have evidence for it. So that we're not talking about that at all. It's just what Sabina was saying about, living as if by magic, and living true to you, living your song, living your unique energy signature, which is very special and specific to you.
Mm-hmm. So, and I believe I see that times are changing dynamically. I come from the background of magic with a CK and have learned a lot there, and found that often it didn't allow me to be who I truly be in the way that I know was possible. So that's why we're kind of dropped the K and kept the C and really embrace a being, like be you and change the world, more than you have to do anything to change something.
Or to do the rituals in order to gain the magic, right? The old time magic was doing the rituals in order to, and we're not into the in order to, it's the be you. And it's really being you with no expectations, letting go of the definitions of you, creating a space, because magic really is created in a spaciousness. and an awareness of being, not doing. The old time magic was do in these right ways, and you create all of these anchor points, and then you can create the space for it. But
be.
Yeah, so we can already be that space. That's the beauty of the times that we're living in.
And it's not that doing is a bad thing. It's a very important thing, actually. But doing to reason that you are allowed to be is not what we need to do anymore. In the old days when we were not aware, like I love that there was this example, like in the old days, only the shamans were able to see in the distance. So when I tell you, okay, can you imagine the Mount Everest, or can you imagine the surface of the moon? Most of you probably will be able to just be there in a moment. But back then that wasn't possible because that was not in their world. And the shamans had to work hard and put themselves into very extreme situations to be able to perceive that. Nowadays, we have shifted that. They have given us a gift that we can continue to grow. And that's what we're doing here, really, to continue that tradition. And it's the beauty of it is available, readily available to all of those who choose. And that's a big difference. We don't have to go through intensive rituals and initiations and all that. We do still in a way, but not in terms of putting our lives on stakes.
At stake. And getting burned at the stake.
Exactly.
For being magic.
So, and that's why we love working with that theme and really encouraging people, wow, there is something available in this time and age that is new, and it's truly where no man, woman has gone before, and that is something that excites me tremendously.
Yeah. And we want to really, magic in some ways is limitless. It's undefined, and we want to know, like, how do you ignite your magic? What is it that brings you into living more of you, and that magic, that spark of you? And last month we talked about tending the fires of wonder and awe, and in that space of being that. So how has that gone the last month of tending the fires of wonder and awe? Is that brought you into that igniting the magic, or did you forget about it? What's going on? How do you ignite your magic? How are you living that?
What we're supposed to talk about.
Well, I want to put that because there's the power in the question versus us telling you, and we can tell you and talk about it. But there's also there's a power of the question for a lot of people that goes, oh, how do I do that? And it starts to unravel a whole way of being that you might not have known. It brings it forward to the consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Cognitive consciousness.
Maybe to warm up a little to that question and let that percolate within you. Like how?
That's why I asked it. Then they can percolate while you talk.
Okay, percolate now. And while I talk, what am I talking? Yeah. One of the things that I see over and over and over again is that people project onto magic a lot of hopes and dreams. It's almost like money. When you like, how many hopes and dreams have you attached to money? If I only had the money, ... right? Mm. It is shifting to almost the same thing with magic. If I only would be able to be magical or have magic, I would just wriggle the top of my nose and things would be all okay. That is fortunately not the case, because that wouldn't be very fun. You would run out of things to do and be in no time.
And it's very linear and causal.
Yeah.
With, if I do this, then I get this.
And we are on a planet that is so incredibly diverse. It's a big adventure. And we're here to experience, to explore, to be, to receive, to taste, to feel, to move, to allow that life energy to move through us. And that's an adventure of magic as well. So being clear on what is it actually that you desire from magic? And for me, the two questions that are most important is, do you just want to be comfortable and get things right and stay within the confines of this reality? Or would you like to go beyond your ordinary? Would you like to bust out of the norms of this reality? Because that is, the magic doesn't live within right and wrong. It doesn't live between left and right. It is everywhere. It percolates everything. And that is also why magic is not like, oh yeah, I'm just going to have a little rainbow unicorn, or the rainbow farting unicorns, as I call them, and everything will be fine.
Yeah,
no,
magical thinking.
Magic is actually one of the most adventurous that are out there, because you're putting yourself so dynamically into your creation that every aspect in you will go into resonance. It does that anyway. But when you're consciously working with magic, you will see those aspects. So you will see the darkest, deepest places of you, and you will have the capacity to move through them. Which, when you're scared of it and you're living in the right and wrong and you go, I don't want to see it, and it still hits you over the head, it leaves you pretty much stranded nowhere. But in this world, when you are willing, when you have the courage to step outside of your own ordinary, of that structure that you've built to be comfortable, then there's a world available that is truly magical. And you will be able to receive from everything around you in a way that you're just not when you're in this little box. Okay, does that make sense? I see nodding heads. Good. Perfect. So really look at what is it that you expect from magic, desire from magic? Who do you think you need to be magical? Okay, ponder, let that percolate. And with that, you're already starting to put your little finger up and say, okay, maybe I'm ready. Okay, and when you then really make that choice, which is always the first step, choice comes always first. Yes, I choose to do this. Then you put your hand up and say, hey, universe, I'm ready. I should do this.
I'm ready for magic. Yeah. It's not about doing it. It's like, I'm ready for more magic, and whatever that means. And part of it is opening to the unexpected, right? It's the unexpected. That's what makes it exciting, right? If you're trying to control it, that's not the thing.
And that's why it's the outside the norm. How bored are you with your routines, with your daily life? Always the same old, right? Even me, we're living a pretty adventurous life. But when I hit that point, when I create an ordinary situation that I've done more than 3 times, it's like, okay, what can change here? What else? And then that same situation, that same rhythm suddenly becomes exciting and new again. And I discover new aspects. That makes life really, for me, worth living. Okay? And yes, any questions so far?
Or comments about your magic?
Perfect. I see lots of smiles. And you can always unmute yourself and speak. That's just a little button on the bottom of your screen. That is great. So
you touched on it, Sabina, when you talked about living an adventurous life. When I frame what's going on in my life as an adventure, I feel as though the doors to the magic kingdom open up, and there I am.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. That is probably the rather challenging step for a lot of people, opening those doors, because, as Juna said, it is the unexpected. You don't know what's behind there. It's like the good old days when you had this big closet in your room and it was very dark and big, particularly when you're small, and you didn't quite know what happened when you opened the doors. Is it like a ghost, a demon, a monster? What is it, right? So being aware of that step starts with the choice, yes, I'm ready. And then also what I find is it is important to acknowledge yourself that there is a commitment to you, honoring you. And with that commitment of I'm honoring myself, you begin the magical adventure of getting to know yourself. One of the main things that we always teach to begin with is that no one and nothing is more powerful than you. But if you don't know who you are, that's a bit of a challenge. So entering the realms beyond the ordinary really requires also of you to know who you are. I call that your energy signature. Okay? Because when you know your energy signature and there is something happening in your life that doesn't work for you, you can recognize it and you will not make yourself wrong for this unfolding. You can just say, oh, this is different. This is a different energy. That doesn't work for me. And then you can work with that accordingly and you can change it. But if you don't know your own energy signature, it's like looking in the mirror, or you think you're looking in a mirror, and you see all those things, and then suddenly you realize, wow, that wasn't the mirror, that was a painted picture from somebody else. And I thought I looked like a Picasso painting, right? And made myself wrong for having funny eyes. But when I know my own energy signature, I know who I am, and I can recognize, wait a minute, no, I don't have two eyes so close together. So being aware of that energy signature is one of those core elements of igniting your magic.
And this is something that we are working with in our Ignite Your Magic apprenticeship that we do. It's a 3-month. And so we really go into that, like, what is your unique energy signature? How do you get there? And like for now, it's more like, you know, what makes your heart laugh? We'll just kind of seed that in there. What makes your heart laugh? How do you know? It's like when you're being fully you, fully turned on, that's an indicator of your song, your unique energy signature in the world, and everything else that is not you. It's not that space of being magic. It's the space of trying to control things, trying to get it right, trying to live in this reality. But when you follow your own song, you sing your song, that will keep guiding you to the next and the next and the next magic that opens and unfolds.
Mm-hmm. And think of a time when you were totally turned on and like grooving, you're rocking the situation, you're just creating, and perceive how
creating or being. It's
yeah.
not always about creating. Sometimes it's just really drinking in life.
Mm-hmm. And somehow it feels like everything around you comes to just contribute to you, right? It's like it just happens. And you don't have to force it. You don't have to do anything about it. And that's the element of as if by magic.
And there's an ease and a peace and a joy. It's different for every single person.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take this a little further. You said don't do it, but I will.
Oh, I said don't do it.
Yeah. So when you imagine,
I wonder what she's going to say now.
Like creation is like this flow between information, energy, and matter. And when you are in this being creating dance, it is as if you create a little vortex. Yeah, you start with an idea. This is the information, and that creates an energy. It creates like a little vortex, and that vortex starts to attract things. Yeah. And the more you know you as a core element, like the one that actually creates this energy, the more you will attract with ease. And you can also receive and you can let go of what doesn't work for you. If you don't know that, you will not be able to really be that space that creates that vortex, that swirl that actually does create. Yeah, or opens doors or whatever. I love how they do it in, I don't know which Marvel movie is Dr. what? Sharp or something. He goes and then he opens a gate, a portal.
Right.
Yeah. So do you get that sense of it? Like how important it is for you in the magical realm to really know yourself and to play with that energy, to know, okay, and to receive, to be. It's really that dance.
And it's to trust.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge thing. You're gonna need to trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, with the people that we meet through our classes and everything, that's one of the biggest things is lack of confidence, self-doubt, not quite trusting themselves in certain things or maybe in everything. And what you really need is to come home to yourself and to know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, because other energies out there, they can really mess with that and you can get pulled in every direction. But when you have that sense of your strength and who you are, and of course it's this part of you that never changes, right? But then there's the rest of you that can always change. When we get into truth and wisdom, there's this strong part of you that no matter where in the universe they can find you, you can find you, because this is who you are. This is your song. Nobody else sings that song. And yet you're a part of a whole symphony. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments, questions? What is this stirring up for you?
Sandra here. I was just thinking about the whole thing in the allowance of it. That's been the big theme for me. The allowance for all that happened, allowance for self and
Allowance
the
of
universe and all the other people, allowance for receiving, coming in, going out. That's what I get in terms of.
Mm-hmm. So
it's almost like me stopping the magic, because I built up also the wall.
Take the microphone. It's a little bit fuzzy sounding.
Just take it.
Sorry. Is it better?
A little bit, yeah. So it's the allowance of the receiving and allowance of others.
Yeah, things come and go. I guess what I'm trying to say is, and be in that instead of in a space.
Yeah.
To be in the space of allowance to the magic.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge thing for me right today. I should say for the last while, just to be allowing.
Mm-hmm. So with allowing, do you have the sense that you need to also, that you can't really do anything about it?
Well, no, well, not in, I can ask for support, right? I can ask for more ease and joy. So there is certain my acts are right doing things as well, but it's more like knowing that I stay out of the way of that is happening, right?
So what is very important in that space, that allowance is really no judgment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of people handicapping themselves with allowance by thinking that they take themselves out of the equation. You can be very intense and say, this is not working for me, or be apparently very angry or whatever. You can do that in the space of no judgment, right? If something doesn't work for you, you can take care of yourself. And this is actually another element of living a magical life. You have to practice self-care, right? That it's like, I see a lot of people putting up with things and situations because they think they can learn something from it, because they think they have to, I don't know what, but they have to stay with that situation and they can't change it. That's not allowance. You get the difference?
No.
Yeah.
Well, once you overstay in a situation, or then the energy shifts, right? When you're over, but for the way I'm thinking is more like things is shifting and just grading. It's not a stale or
not
past by state kind of energy.
Yeah.
Like allowance, there's when things are happening, shifting before your awareness can catch up. Sometimes being allowance is because like I'm thinking my awareness just can't process so much. So me being an allowance, there will be.
So when things unfold that get difficult, and then being an allowance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, that's also why it is so important that you take care of your body,
Mm-hmm.
your energy, and of your being, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's what I meant in the beginning. This adventure can be the most challenging adventure that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
So taking care of you, and that you don't go further out than you are comfortable with, and like comfortable as in putting up your feet and eating bonbons, but comfortable, yeah, this is okay with me.
Yeah.
Like I see people sometimes push in their spiritual growth so hard that they go beyond the point where they're actually able to contain the energy that is flowing through them, that it doesn't work. And then there are the moments when something like change is happening and you feel uncomfortable, and all the judgment, all those basement stuff, the dark, deep secrets, the stinky stuff and the cobwebby stuff comes up, and it's like, ew. To be in allowance of that is equally as challenging sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, what I always invite people to do is celebrate. Celebrate in the face of your judgment of yourself, whatever. Because what you have just tapped into is you found something that was shackling you, that was holding you back, that was strangling you, whatever it is in that moment, and you're becoming aware of it. That means you can actually free yourself.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, you found a key to yourself that lifts you up. Okay? So don't give yourself a hard time of being an allowance or not. Just go, yes, I found it. This is so cool. This is holding me back for centuries. Make up a great, fantastic story. Embellish it. Right? Whoa, I found this, what I call goober, that has been with me since the Middle Ages, right? Or since the beginning of time. Whatever. Have fun with it, because that energy that it wants to be released works with separation and works with seriousness and significance. And when you go into it with this, like that energy of celebrating, wow, I found you. Finally, yes, that whatever it is, it goes, I didn't expect that, and change.
Yeah, the lightness, the humor, that then you know you're igniting your magic. If you're living in that energy, right?
So the next time you go into, I can't be an allowance, just skip that. That's for the next class. And go, yes, I found something that's holding me back. Right? And hallelujah, great. Woohoo! Let's explore it. Let's look at it.
Does that make sense? Does that give you something to play with?
And if you need to have a glass of wine with it, by all means.
I do that often.
Often eases things up.
Yeah.
The bottle, but the glass of wine. That's okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I want to also dive a little bit into that self-care, because for most people, it's obvious that you brush your teeth in the morning and you have a shower.
And every now and then you have a bubble bath, but that's not the kind of self-care we're talking about.
And the self-care really includes all of you, and that is part of getting to know your energy signature as well. Like, body is pretty straightforward most of the time.
Body needs rest, needs some kind of touch, it needs some kind of food, water, fresh air. It thrives when it feels safe and has shelter. So it's very, very simple, the needs of the body. And it doesn't have a lot of point of view on the type of food, the type of water, the type of thing. It's very, very simple.
And when it comes to energy, often a lot of people know what to do, but a lot of people say, energy, what is that? And just for those of you who are listening, who don't know what energy is, it's when you touch your body, that's your body. when you go a little bit further out with your hands, just move your hands like up to an arm width away, and just perceive what that is, right? That's your energy. When you walk into a room and you just have a sense for that's what's happening. Energy is just a vibration, right? It moves through us all. It is always present. We're not talking about the scientific energy that moves things, but the energy is more a quality that is present. So when it comes to tending to your own energy, a lot of people know what to do, like going into the woods and just being in a space that is just caring to them. Yeah. And what else is there with energy? Like really, when you are in a situation like we're heading towards the Christmas time, so if you're hanging out with family members that are maybe not as honoring of you and don't celebrate you, you might want to step out and pretend you're smoking if you're not smoking, and just say, I need some fresh air. But take care of your own energy, that your energy field clears out and is not full of things and stuck with things that don't belong to you. Again, you can do that the more you know your own energy signature.
Yeah, so you'll know what's your vibration and what's other people's and what doesn't really resonate with you. And it's not about excluding it from your world, but it's just knowing energetically what works for you and what doesn't. And of course, energy, your body really is the one that picks up the energy, right? So the body and the energy go really hand in hand. And again, it's a quality of energy. And oftentimes, all the time, our thoughts create an energy, our feelings create energy. Energy isn't good or bad, but what happens is when we try to contain energy, or we pretend it's not there, we resist the energy, then the energy becomes more demanding, and that's when you might have body pain. That's when you don't feel so good. So it's like allowing energy to move. Energy wants to move, and just notice like where in your body is the energy stuck, and then allow it. It's just through breath. You're asking a question: how can this energy flow? Energy is meant to flow and move, and so is your body, actually.
And again, this is a whole big field, but these are little tidbits that you can already play with tending your energy. And then the other element is tending your being, or as some people call it, tending your spirit. And that is often where most people don't even go. What does that mean to tend your spirit, to really know you and nurture that part in you? And we're living in a time where old traditions are ceasing to thrive, like churches are closing, and
it doesn't fit the bill anymore. Doesn't do the thing.
It is that space of what we call wonder and awe, where you really become the greatest you in celebration of life. And this is what we're really reinventing as a society. And that's our work. What we care a lot about is bodies and energy, but that space of wonder and awe, that space where you don't give your power away. That's what was in the old days. But that space where you can really unite and be aware of the magic of this world that nurtures your energy, your body, that brings you to life in a way that nothing else really does. And for a lot of people, that happens in nature when there's here in Canada, the fall was this year breathtaking. When you dive into the colors of a tree that's just changing, and the leaves playing in the wind and the sunlight playing with the leaves, just magical.
And that's what we talked about the last one, about tending the fires of wonder and awe. And it really has a lot to do with igniting your magic, is to tend those fires, to tend your spirit. It's in some traditions, they call it spiritual hygiene. And, where do you go to have that sense of wonder and awe? Where do you go to tend your spirit? to tend to your being.
Mm-hmm. And what is so important about this, because hey, why do I need to? It is when you start living, like when you ignite your magic, you start creating with all of you way more dynamically. Yeah. So if you just live a normal life where you don't really invest yourself into your life, it's like driving a beetle, right? A little bug, like,
or simmering on low pressure, like a low simmer.
Yeah. So you just, it's not, there's not much happening, right? It's comfortable, it's okay. But when you start cranking up the volume, you start suddenly having that Lamborghini, right? And it's like, oh, there's some more power. So when you hit that thing on the bottom right, suddenly that something more is happening, right? It's very, very different from a beetle. Both are great, but man, when you have that kind of oomph behind you, way different creation.
And that's the energy. It's your body. It's the being.
Your thoughts, your feelings, your everything creates.
Getting it all together.
It means that those dark, deep corners are creating with you as well. Right? And when you're scared of them, or when you don't really say, okay, hey, I see you, I celebrate you, and I change it, then life can get sometimes rather interesting. And shit happens. And when you go belly up, it's like, oh, this is not for me, or oh, I can't do that. It spins out of control almost, not in a good way. Does that make sense? Yeah?
No. Somebody's playing with us. No.
Was that a serious no or a real no?
I think that was a sarcastic no. Look at the squint of the eyes.
Cool. So by really tending to your body, and moving your body, going out and for walks and all this, tending your energy, doing the breathing, doing that, what Juna was talking about earlier, and tending your spirit, really allowing yourself to be in that space of wonder and awe, will take care of those parts in you that are a bit like stuffy or stuck or all that, and you will have a lot more ease living a magical life. Okay, and that in itself will ignite your magic, because you are innately magic. That you came that way. You don't actually have to work to be magical. That's who we truly are. We are magical beings. We're way more than what we have identified as human beings. That's such an understatement, that what we have created. Thank you for muting.
So
cool. Any questions up to here? Any comments? How are you doing with all of this? All good? Perfect.
What else is there?
There's so much more.
Ignite.
I want to go more into that area of trusting yourself. So I was talking about the reflection, and sometimes we look at the picture that somebody else drew and we think it's our reflection, but it's actually just a picture. So in that moment, it is so important to know who you are. And I mean, I like that we're currently working also with something that's called human design. And that helped me tremendously to really reflect back, okay, what is the way that honors me actually? And if you want to say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so part of being living true to you and living authentically you as a magical being is living by your inner authority. And in human design, they break it down into 4 types of people on the planet, and some people are born to initiate, and some people, most of the people on the planet, are really designed to wait and respond. And we've been in a culture that is very much like, let's initiate, let's make stuff happen. So what if it's just really good to know what is your design, what's true for you. Like, are you, if you are an initiator and you're if you're a responder, if your design and your way of being is to really respond, and you're trying to initiate because this reality is all about initiating, that can create a lot of frustration for you. But if you actually wait and use your aura to pull in people, because that's a certain type of person, you just be you, and energy and life comes to you with total ease. So it's just good to know these 4 different types, and I'm happy to talk with anybody about that if you have any questions. I'm studying the courses, so
She's good.
There's a lot to it, a lot more to it. So that's just one aspect that has taught both of us about, like, who am I in the world? How do I live by my authority? And part of that is my magic.
And why I'm bringing that up is, I'm going to use you as an example. Okay. Like, Juna grew up with a mother who is an initiator, a manifestor. And who initiates with great ease. But she was, for the longest time, modeling herself after her mother, thinking she has to do the same thing.
Like, my mom's a woman, right? You model yourself after your same-sex parent oftentimes, right?
And that never really created much that was fun for her. And the moment when you realized, oh, I can actually receive energy and then respond and then create from that, a lot of things changed. So, and you don't have to do human design. I used that as an example, even though it's very powerful and I highly recommend it. When you are not honoring you and your energy, you just keep running against the wall and creating very, very hard.
And some of the symptoms would be, if you're resentful, that shows that you're not being yourself. If you're feeling frustrated all the time, you're not being true to you. Right. You're angry all the time, you're probably not living true to you. So it's when we talked about your energy signature at the beginning of this call, when you're happy, when you're at peace, when you are, those are the energies that you know that you're you. That's why we say it's so important to know your signature, because when you're, whacked out on a really hyper emotion, is that really you? You have to know your song, and then you go, whoa, that's not me. Who is that? And, return it to sender, or whatever you do with those energies.
Okay. So really, like, and there are many modalities that do that. So be also aware what is coming in your life. That is something that I find very fascinating. When you step beyond your ordinary and you start to expect the unexpected, your whole life becomes your medicine. I like to call it like the medicine. It provides you with whatever you require to take your next step. You might not see anything else but your next step. But there's always a resource there available for you. So be aware of those things that come in your life that help you to know yourself on a deeper level. That might be a modality like human design or astrology or the I Ching or Enneagram, there are many, many very beautiful ways to reflect back and just be open to it.
And just different people in your life, or a resource that comes. And again, we talked about the power of the question. Like, if you're asking to be the magic, and if you're asking to live in the realm of the unknown and the magical, you have to ask for it and be open to it. Otherwise, you're going to create the same old. You're going to create anger, frustration, and bitterness. So when you go, okay, so I want to be open to who I am, who I really am at my core, not all that other stuff out there. Because who I really am is really, peaceful or joyful, or desires to be a contribution. And then you ask to be more of that, and then start to notice, because you always have, at least up to 5 different resources that come in. and it might not be money, it might not be this or that. It's these things. So
The
that you
unexpected.
you want to have your whole antennas open to receive.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I come to our last point that I was coming.
What's it going to be?
Drum roll. Which is living a magical life requires of you to trust and to not be the sole source for things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many times have you thought if you don't do it, it doesn't get done, or it doesn't get done the way that you like it? Right?
Mm.
Yeah. 5 times at least. So that can be sometimes a challenge because there is an element of surrender in that trust that, okay, I now have to look for human design. And if human design doesn't show up in my life, I'm not magical. No. Get that example? Or if it doesn't show up the way that I expect it to be, I am wrong.
Common.
Right?
Common.
And that often happens to people who think that they are the source and they have to do it their way.
And that's the magical thinking, right? That's
Right, exactly. So allowing yourself to receive and be like a kid in the candy store or in a toy store, I like that picture better, of, what else? I wonder what other resources are showing up, and totally being willing to be the source, as in taking the initiative. Like, you are the core of that vortex that you're building, but you're not the sole source. Everything else around you is drawn to whatever you're creating. And if you're not receiving, it's going to be very exhausting, and you will create lack after lack after lack after lack.
It just the quote from Rumi about the uninvited guest. I can't remember, the uninvited guest in the house. You treat everyone that comes through as an opening, as a gift. A lot of times the negative energies or the things that we think, well, that can't be a gift because that was negative energy, that was a mean person, that person cut me off in traffic. What if that could contribute to you? Mm-hmm. What if that was a resource? What if that was an energy for you? And so this is all of life desires to contribute to you when you are asking that question. Show me the magic. Bring it on. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's that energy you be. If you go like, yeah, I think I'd like to be magic. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, sure. But
the Rumi.
What?
Okay. I mean, the Rumi had a quote on that. Everybody comes through the door is a guide by Rumi.
Yeah. So thank you.
I mean, there are others. I'm sure there are other sources too. I just know that Rumi had a quote. Every guest comes to your door is a guide from beyond.
Yes, that's it. A guide, a gift from beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And welcome it. Right? Welcome it. Welcome everything. But it doesn't mean if someone shits on you, you can go away, bro. Right? It's not about being a doormat, but it's like, okay, thank you for that energy. Okay, you may go now. And that's the allowance.
Yeah. And if you're the sole source for everything, you have to be in absolute control, because your life depends on you, just on you, nothing else, right? And if you can't control something, you can't invite that uninvited guest from beyond. Mm-hmm. Get that? And that's, again, where the web weaves together. If you're not in allowance of things and you come from judgment, you can't invite that guest either.
Magic is impossible with judgment. Magic is judgment-free.
Absolutely.
It's beyond polarity, beyond duality, beyond opposites.
So we're coming towards the end of this call. Just perceive an area where you're maybe not creating what you desire.
Or an area where you're stuck. Put it both ways. She's putting it nice way, and I'm putting it like, you're stuck.
So in that area, would you be willing to, first of all, drop your barriers and allow yourself to receive in ways that you haven't received ever before. And really open up to the unexpected.
Is there room for magic? Or have you decided that's the way it always is going to be?
Pop it out of existence. That much ease. And also celebrate. When you find that spot, celebrate it. Hey, cool, you found it. You can actually now change it. Okay? And when you find all your expectations that, oh, it's going to be hard, it's going to be blah, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, change it. You can change it. You have the power by choice to change it. Even if you stand on your head and look at it from upside down, that will already change it.
And you can open up to the greater spirit. You can open up to all the beings who are here that do contribute to you. There's beings seen and unseen who desire to contribute to you.
And when you come out of that seriousness, of that stuckness, and that, oh, it's not changing, it's like, oh, I never have money, or never enough money, or my health is not in my relationship, and my self-worth is in the basement anyway. Like when you come out of that, biting your teeth together and your lips are very thin, then something else can unfold. And from there, allow yourself to perceive that, yes, you are the initiator, you're the catalyst of your life, but you're not the sole source for it. Okay? And perceive how naturally life is always contributing to life. It's eager. That's how it works. This is the beauty of this planet. It's like a constant web of contribution. Yeah, the rain contributes to the plants contribute to the water becomes rain, and to make a very short circle. we don't have the time for the whole thing. But perceive the beauty of that dance. But you can't be a joyful part of this dance. You will be washed around if you are thinking that you are the sole source. So in that situation, where have you made yourself the sole source for whatever is not working for you and you want to change it? And I invite you in the next month till the next fireside chat on the 3rd, probably, to play with that. Find those, unexpected resources, unexpected contributions that come to you, that are already in your life, that you could receive, that might not have anything to do with the issue as such, but that will shift and change. Just play with it. Don't think about it. Just say, hey, okay, I'm open to receive that. That's a little adventure game that is waiting for you.
And when you find it, just like really be of gratitude. Like that gratitude is such a potent energy. It's like one of the most powerful energies on the planet right now. Like just to be grateful for, again, I guess that's what the Rumi quote I keep going back to, be grateful for whoever comes. Be grateful for whatever comes. Be grateful. And even if you can't, even if your heart feels a little bit like a shriveled peanut, you can just say, okay, even if there's a little tiny pinprick of gratitude, have that gratitude and ask that gratitude to grow and expand. And it will.
Thank you, Julia. You're reading me all right.
That is a beautiful spark into magic.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is cool.
Any other questions or comments before we wrap it up tonight?
Well, thank you guys very much. I mean, it's what's the word? Like it really from both sides. For me, is to believe that I'm not the only source. I'm more just me being here is become the source for attraction for magic, and that by itself is me being magic. And to be open to receiving it. I think that's the part that I'm struggling a little bit. Is like, do I deserve it? Am I receiving too much happiness, or like, all the other people are suffering, yet I have so much goodness in my life, and I'm not content, why I'm not content. Should I ask for more? Do I deserve more? And how much do I have to pay back if I kind of thing? So there's a lot of yes, let it all go now. And thank you very much. Appreciate it today.
You're welcome.
And thank you for bringing that deserving up, because that is one of the biggest, or one of the bigger goobers. Like when you come to that, your role is, no matter in which situation, to bring that light that just radiates, right? So when you have that ease and that comfort, make it bigger, radiate it, make that magic so shiny and bright that it percolates all the way through, that you can be an inspiration, a helping hand, a supporting hand for those that don't see that energy yet, right? Just by you being you. And it's not helping in the classical way of I will fix your problem. No, I can change it, and I know you can change it too, right? When somebody shines bright, that's an inspiration.
Yeah. When you go down into the rabbit hole of suffering on the planet, if you go into the politics and sink down, you're creating more of that energy. That's the energy vibration. That's not your song. So we're here to sing our song, to shine our light in the midst of the gray, in the midst of the war and the strife and the sickness and the suffering on this planet. And it's a challenge for us to do that. It's, our hearts are big and it goes out. But if we go into the suffering, we create more of it. So it's being grateful for what we have and asking for more. Why not? Like, and because we are it, and having it for myself and for the world and for you and for me and all of us.
And from that space, take the action that feels right to you. It's not about just, oh, I'm just shining my light and I'm pretty and I'm a pretty little sun
and I have to leave a little tiny carbon footprint. That's not it.
The point is to shine your light and follow whatever you have that impulse to follow, right? Whether that is to become very involved in politics or whatever is fun for you. That's your signature, right? So the action is absolutely crucial, because otherwise it's just magical fantasy. Yeah, cool. Anybody else?
Thank you for a lot of food for thought.
You're very, very, very welcome. Always.
Thank you for the magic.
And you all are the magic. Everyone on this call, like listening, like now and participating now or later, you are the magic. You came here. You're like, I want to ignite my magic. I'm here. I'm ready. Let's go. And, take from us, like, we're living in this incredible magic right now, and we've got a lot to share. So let us be a spark to ignite your magic and, tend your fire. Like, keep going. You do an amazing job, all of you. You're amazing. This is not an easy time to be on the planet. So you are the magic. You are the light. You are the peace and the joy, and just be it and radiate it and bask in this energy. This is the magic, and we need you. We all need you, and the world needs that energy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just a quick thing, like letting you know, this is a podcast as well. Like I know I don't understand all this, but we're doing a Zoom, but it goes onto a podcast. It's on SoundCloud. It's on iTunes. It's on, Google Play
and Spotify.
So you can go and listen to it on your headset anytime, and you listen to the back ones. I think next month will be our anniversary of 1 whole year of Fireside Chats, and you can listen to the previous ones. But thank you so much for joining us and being a part of it. And if you,
I think it's December 1.
What's that? December.
I think it's December the 1st. The next one.
We're trying to do it always on the 3rd.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, we're always going to do third of the month.
Mhm.
The third of the month.
Okay. That's a Tuesday.
Thursday is a magical number. That's how we do it, rather than sticking to like every whatever night this is.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
Going to
that's
the,
my choir night.
yeah, third. So it's different for everyone.
And if you're not able to be live, you can subscribe to either on YouTube or on any of the podcasts or to our newsletter, and we will remind you.
Okay.
And if you have any questions or you want us to talk about something, let us know in this moment, or you can respond on to an email or whatever, because we want to hear from you. What's going on in your world. We have a Facebook group as well. So,
But we'll put that all in the email.
What's the name of the Facebook group?
what's that?
What's the name of the Facebook group?
Synergy in Motion Forum.
Okay. Duh.
The emotion. You can
Perfect.
find it.
Okay.
Great.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have fun.